You most likely don't have a strategy for checking your email metrics, and it's taken you hours to figure out the exact problem behind your bad conversion rates. But it's actually not that hard if you have a repeatable system in place. So I'm Leon, founder of Lothaurus, and we're quite frankly killing it when it comes to our clients' email and SMS marketing. And today I'll show you the exact step-by-step strategy we use at our own agency to audit clients' accounts. So if you want the exact document that walks you through the process, you can just click the link down below. All right, we're in our demo account now, and actually we're already in the right place. So this is kind of the first page that we really want to take a look at. It's the home dashboard. And of course, we're currently at 0 for every number you could imagine because it's a demo account. Of course, for you, it should look kind of different, I hope. But basically what you want to do right here is you want to check your attributed conversions. And if you have a healthy account, if your email account is doing pretty well, you should be somewhere between 35 to 45% plus. So yes, there will be some accounts that have way more attributed revenue than 45%, but there will also be some accounts where it's okay that you're below 35% attributed revenue, but we're not going to go into detail on that. So if you find that your attributed conversions are pretty solid, most of the time everything is fine, your account is healthy, but still there might be some kind of leaks that are pretty small right now that you can spot early on before they rise and become a really big problem. So you might still want to follow along. But if your account looks pretty bad in terms of attributed conversions and you're sitting somewhere between 20 to 30% or maybe even lower, you definitely have some problem in your email account. And then from there, you basically want to walk through the entire account right here. And most of the time, if you have a problem like this, you will be able to spot it in this dashboard right here. So you really want to take a look at the dashboard, and maybe your campaigns are underperforming. So maybe they're only making up 20% of your total revenue, or maybe even just 10%. Maybe it's the other way around. Maybe it's the flows. And this way you can really find which one of those is maybe underperforming and which one is kind of overperforming, you could say. And then you can focus on the area that is currently underperforming. So maybe your conversion rate is pretty high or pretty low, or maybe it's kind of the flow split that is off here. So of course, number one should always be the welcome flow. After that, abandoned checkout and post-purchase flows. This is the approximate sequence that you want to have. Of course, it's always different depending on the brand. And if you have text messaging set up, you also want to make sure that it's making up for some of your revenue at least, and that you're not sitting at 2% attributed revenue. And from here, you'll also be able to kind of see a preview of your campaigns, and you can see the open rates, the click rates, basically how the campaigns performed in general. And you'll be able to spot the campaigns that are not doing so well right now, and you can also iterate from that. So this dashboard gives you a really great overview. And if you have an area that you think is kind of underperforming, so let's say your campaigns are underperforming, we of course want to take a look at the campaigns tab. All right, in the campaigns tab, you can see there's not much going on here. Again, there's a demo account. So right here, you will see all the campaigns that you're sending out, that you've sent out, that you've scheduled, that you've canceled, basically everything. And by default, it will say last 30 days. So you will see all the campaigns from the last 30 days with all the performance metrics right here. And then if you've sent out a few campaigns so far, you will see a card up here, which basically tells you the performance of your campaigns over the last 30 days. And from there, you can spot pretty fast how your account is doing. So general metrics are below 30 to 40%. You don't want to go below that in terms of open rates. You don't want to go below kind of 1.5% in terms of click rates. Totally depends on the brand still. And also your placed order rate and your revenue per recipient should be fine. So if you're somewhere below that, it is a good indicator that you're currently facing deliverability issues. And we're going to go into detail on that in future videos. If you want a video about that, just let me know in the comments down below. That just gives me good information about what I should record next. And also we're going to slightly go into detail on that in the later part of this video. And from here, what we want to do next is take a look at the flows performance. So for that, we just need to go to analytics, to dashboards, and then the overview dashboard, which will be created by Klaviyo by default. You can, of course, still create a dashboard yourself, but we're not going to do that today. And if you just scroll down a few cards, you can see the flows performance card, which we really want to analyze. Right here, you can see this is set to all email flows. And right here, if we were to send out flows and had a few flows set up, we would see the open rates, the click rates, and the active on site rates for all the flows, basically. It's an average of all the flows. And if you're really curious about each specific flow, you can, of course, click on that exact flow and see the open and basically all the metrics for this flow. And you can, of course, do that for every single flow. And by doing that, you can kind of spot the flows that are not doing that well in terms of engagement metrics. And then from there, you should click in the exact flow to see which emails are performing and which emails are simply not performing well. To give you a quick example, I just navigated to the abandoned cart flow of this demo account. For some reason, it is live. Of course, we're not sending out any emails here. What you then want to do is click on the Show Analytics tab in the bottom and in the top right. And by doing that, you can kind of see the engagement metrics of your emails and also the conversion metrics. And then you want to take a look at the open rates, the click rates, and the placed order rates. And you really want to take a look at the first 1, 2, 3 emails of each flow. I would say I would recommend you stay with the first 2 emails basically, and you take a look at this place order rate and take this place order rates as the benchmark. And then for the next emails, so let's say the flow is 5 emails long, you always want to take a look at the placed order rate, but also at the engagement metrics overall. And if you see that after the second or maybe after the third email, you have a really big drop off in terms of engagement metrics and conversion rates, and basically the email doesn't really serve any purpose, you can basically delete it because it's just going to hurt your overall engagement metrics and at the end of the day, also your sender reputation. So really make sure that you only have high leverage emails in place. And this also plays the other way around, by the way. If you find that even the last email of the flow still has great conversion rates and great engagement metrics, you might want to consider adding another few emails and see how these perform in your flow. All right, now we analyzed our flows and hopefully we get some nice insights from that. What we want to do next is navigate to sign up forms right here. And by the way, this totally depends. For our clients personally, I always like to use Alia, which is basically a tool that integrates with Shopify that you can use for creating really nice looking, high performing sign-up forms. It is, or at least it can get quite costly, but most of the time I find that it really pays off in the long term and it really increases your subscriber growth by a lot. So I recommend you use that. But if you use Klaviyo, which some clients actually prefer as well, you just need to navigate right here. And right here, you can see your overall pop-up performance. And if you just click in the pop-up that you currently have live, you can see your total revenue, of course, in a real account that would display some kind of number, as well as your submit rate, your submits, and the people that view the form. You also have really detailed, in-depth reports right here. If you're not experienced with pop-up optimization and if you just want to have a pretty solid subscribe rate, you might actually just want to take a look at your overall subscribe rate right here and check if it's above 10%. And next, talking about subscriber growth, we want to navigate to analytics, to dashboards, and to overview dashboard. And if we scroll down a little, let me just check. Oh no, we didn't add that card right now. So we just want to go here, add a card, and then check for the subscriber growth. Yeah, we just found it down here, right? The last card, we just want to add data view and then scroll down, see where we have it. Right here, subscriber growth. It doesn't say anything right now. Again, we don't have any data here, But in a real account, you would basically see a graph on the right here, where you can basically see how many people subscribe versus how many people unsubscribe. So the amount of people that subscribe will be green up here, and the amount of people that unsubscribe will be red down here. And what you might want to make sure is that you have around 3 times the amount of people subscribing to your list than you have people unsubscribing, which basically is a good indicator for a good sender reputation, but also a good sending frequency. Some brands like to optimize for having really low unsubscribe rates. Of course, you want to do that, but they want to artificially have their unsubscribe rates low and don't send out any content by doing that. And yeah, you might retain some people on your list, but basically you will lose out on a lot of revenue and a lot of satisfied customers in the long run. So always make sure that 3 times the amount of people are actually subscribing than you have people unsubscribing. Now, if you really want to take it to the next level, you can just click in the deliverability dashboard, and right here you can see the deliverability score. Of course, we don't have a score available here, but basically it will give you some kind of number between kind of 0 and 100. So I've never seen a brand at 0, and I think this is actually not possible. If you're a brand that has a deliverability score of 0, please reach out. I really want to see that. So basically you want to go near 100 as much as possible. If you have bad deliverability, you will sit somewhere between 50 and 70 in terms of the deliverability score. And kind of a good deliverability is somewhere between 58 to kind of 100, but you don't need to be at 100 exactly. Even if you're at 95, it is still a really great deliverability. And this also gives you a good indicator of your overall sender reputation. And also, if you're not experienced with fixing deliverability, Klaviyo has a quick action center right here, which kind of gives you next steps on how to fix the deliverability. If you really don't have any experience, I recommend you go with that and just leave it as is. And maybe if you feel like you don't know how to improve your deliverability, you just wait for another video on my channel. I will upload a video about that soon. Or you just reach out down below. You can book a call with me and I will audit your email account, take a look at your deliverability, at all your metrics, and tell you what's working, what's not. I will just give you a quick overview of the next 30 days. So if you want a call, just click a link down below. Last thing you want to do is, again, click on dashboards, overview dashboard, scroll down to the bottom card. Right here. We're at this card right here. So this is email deliverability by domain, which sounds really abstract, but basically it shows you how each domain is performing in your kind of your sender reputation and in your account. Most of the time you will have most people on Gmail. So make sure that your Gmail is at a good open rate, at a good click rate, and also good conversion rates. Basically, let's say most of your domains are at 45% open rates or 50% open rates. You will spot a domain that has maybe 20% open rates, which is a really good indicator of deliverability issues on that exact domain. Now, what you want to do next in the next few campaigns you're sending out is kind of warm this domain up. It sounds really complicated, but it is pretty easy if you have a structure for that. All right, if you complete those steps, you basically audit your email account and hopefully spotted a few leaks here and there. If you didn't spot any leaks, of course, this is great, but most of the time, every brand, even for our clients, there will be some kind of leak that you want to optimize. And this leak also changes every single month. So make sure that you're repeatedly analyzing your email account and auditing it every month or maybe every 2 months or so. And if you want the document that exactly walks you through the entire process that I basically use at our own agency to kind of follow along and audit the email account, you can just click a link down below in my free resources. Again, just download it right there, open it in the Google Doc, and have it pull up next to your screen and just check with your email account. And that's it for today's video. Hope you enjoyed it and see you in the next one.